good evening all. Now, bear with me. I'm going to try technology now, so this could all end in tears. I'm going to try and share my screen because I'm sure you don't want to sit and look at my handsome face for the next 20 minutes or so while I ramble on. So bear with me. Let's see if we can't manage to do this.
Yeah.
Can you see me?
Oh, something's happening. Yeah, we've got that. Yeah, we've got it.
Excellent. Phew. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Right. Well, good evening, as it says on the screen. My name is John, and my official title is Chief Executive of the Respite Association, which sounds very, very grand. However, let me explain. We are a very small charity. I am Chief Executive of 2 staff, me on 3 days a week and our holidays manager on 2 days a week. So Chief Executive looks good on the headed paper, but let's be honest here, maybe shining a light a little too brightly. However, I'm Chief Executive now. In 2001, I was one of the founding trustees of our charity. The Respite Association came out of, I shouldn't really call it a drunken dinner. We were sat round the table, a group of us, bemoaning the lot of carers. In one way or another, we'd all got first-hand knowledge of caring and the challenges of caring and how little support that there was. And we were sat there bemoaning this fact, and one of our wives looked up and said, 2 of you are professional charity fundraisers. One of you is a business entrepreneur. Don't sit there moaning, get up and do something about it. Who's going to argue? So we were born in 2001. We were very, very lucky in that we got going straight away. We got some money in and we started helping carers. Then in 2012, we bought 2 caravans. It was one of our bonkers ideas that we wanted to expand what we did. And we were fairly certain that the service that we were offering was missing a few carers. Those people who got family and friends who could look after the person they were being cared for, but couldn't actually afford a holiday. So the original plan was we were going to buy a caravan and see how it worked. I'm not complaining, but we got a little over enthusiastic and raised enough money to buy 2 caravans. So we did. We bought 1 caravan in Skegness and 1 in Blackpool. And from the time that we opened the caravans, they were oversubscribed every year. The feedback we got from people was absolutely fantastic. And we couldn't have been more delighted with how well they did. But they were getting to the end of their useful life. So we had to make a decision as to what we were going to do. So in 2020, we sold them. With a grand plan, the idea being that rather than owning 2 caravans, we would do a deal with the large caravan holiday companies to rent blocks of their caravans. That will keep our challenges of staff time to a minimum, and we could still give holidays. Sounded like a grand plan. Then COVID joined us, and the price of a caravan holiday went absolutely ridiculous because nobody could go anywhere, and that one went out of the window. So in 2021, we started a new adventure, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a little while. We are still going, we are still caring. The last 2 years have broken every record for the number of carers we've been able to support. no real surprise there, given what's been going on. But in 21 years, the last 2 have been the busiest, and we're looking like this year is going to be another record breaker. I would say I had a full head of hair before COVID, but that would be lying. Last year, we were able to help around about 300 carers with both our holidays and our grant scheme. We're very pleased with that. We'd love to help more, and we're working on that, but we have to live within our means. So the first thing is, what's our criteria? How do you apply to the Respite Association? Well, first of all, we have 2 application forms, one for our holidays, one for our grants. If you ever look at one of our application forms, you may have a little bit of a shock. Unlike certain other forms that you may have come across in your caring career, ours do not run to 15 pages and ask you for the bank balance of your great-grandmother's nearest friend. Ours is 2 pages long, and the second page is pretty much all GDPR, and you're giving us the right to hold your details on in our records. It is very, very straightforward, because we work on the principle that carers have got a few other things to be getting on with rather than filling in forms. So the first question is, are you a long-term carer? In our view, that's anybody who's been caring for somebody that they love for more than a year. And I've got a fair guess that most of you tonight will fit into that category. Do you need our help? If you're a multi-millionaire, please don't call us. We haven't got that much money. But the odds are, if you're getting in touch with us, it's because you need some help. And that's why we're here. Now, don't think that we offer anything spectacular. I always say to people, what we offer is what everybody else takes for granted. Until you become a carer, you don't really understand the value of normality, of having a little bit of time to yourself, of being able to sit down and watch daytime television, or whatever it is that you class as normality. Going to family events and activities, things like that. As I say, we don't offer anything spectacular, just a little bit of normality, just enough to keep you going. I said we have 2 separate strands. The first one is our grants programme. This is a grant of up to £500. It is to pay for somebody to look after the person being cared for. Now, that can be somebody coming into the home, or it can be going out to a care facility, or it can be play school or something like that. One of the things you'll notice about us is we don't tell you what it looks like. We ask you what you need. We don't have our own caring staff, primarily because we don't have the manpower to look after it. And most carers already know somebody. And it's better to have somebody that you know looking after the person that you love than some stranger that we sent in. So the only thing that we ask is, if it's an individual coming into your home, they must be suitably qualified. And we try and be as flexible on that as we can. So if they haven't got a formal qualification or something, a certificate that they can give us, a reference from social services or from a local charity who can say, we know Mrs. Smith, we consider her suitably qualified to do this work. And that's all it takes. And we keep all the finance side of things away from you as well. So if we offer a grant, we pay the person providing the service directly. They send us an invoice, we pay them. You don't have to worry about it. So the background to the grants program is the person being cared for must have a medical or mental health diagnosis. We don't specify what that is. Nobody's going to come to us if they have a medical diagnosis of a hangnail. It's just not going to happen. But there must be a medical or mental health diagnosis. We have had to vary that recently because those folk who have a child who is suspected to be on the autistic spectrum can wait anything up to 18 months to actually get a diagnosis, well, actually get an appointment to start the process of getting a diagnosis. So now we work on the principle that if they're booked for an appointment, we'll accept the fact that they are most likely going to be diagnosed at some point in the future. Must be a long-term carer. Again, as I said earlier, 12 months or more, we consider you a long-term carer. And can't access the funding elsewhere. As I said, please don't come to us if you've got lots of money in the bank and you don't need us. But you wouldn't be looking at us if that were the case in the first place. So, come to us. We don't ask financial questions. We don't consider that's our place at all. So, we are interested in, you are desperate enough to come to us, you need our help. And whilst our focus is always on the carer, we don't mind if the cared for have a great time too. So for example, not so long ago, we sent a young boy to Riding for the Disabled. From the reports we got back, apart from the fact that I was incredibly jealous, he had a whale of a time. That was fantastic because mum got some respite. That was what we were interested in, but it's a win-win. So we don't have a problem with that at all. It doesn't matter to us where the cared for goes to. We also have some partnerships with particular organisations in London who send children to summer camps. Again, they send us videos of the summer camps, and I want to know why they weren't there when I was a kid. But they have a whale of a time, and mum and dad have a break. That is what is most important to us. So don't think that we wouldn't fund what you want to do. Talk to us. If we can't fund it, we'll say. Most of the time, we can say yes. And most of the time, if we can't say yes straight away, we tell you how to ask us the question. Because it's me you deal with when you contact us, because I'm pretty much the only one here. And my job is to help, not to hinder. Okay, my job is not to put you off from applying. My job is to help you to apply. One of my favourite jobs, it doesn't happen very often, but every now and again I have to ring up a carer and ask them if they've actually asked for enough. Because they've asked for they've asked for a small amount of money, or they want one night. And I always say to them, is that going to be enough for you? The shock and awe. I actually had one lady last year, she had to ring me back because she burst into tears. Wasn't my intention. And she rang me back and she said, nobody had been that kind to her for years. I hate my job. So, as previously mentioned, our other project is we offer seaside breaks. These are just some of the photos we had from last year. We have two facilities. The first one is a caravan in North Wales. It's a wonderful caravan. If you ever book caravans, it's on platinum scale. It is really nicely done. It's very nicely set out. And it's on a lovely little park. It's the best of both worlds, that one, because it's part of a family group. They own 13 holiday parks in North Wales. And the one that we're on is reasonably quiet. There's a bar and restaurant on site, but it's a smaller site. It's nice and quiet. So you can go and have a nice, peaceful week's holiday there. But across the road is their big park, and it's manic. They've got the swimming pool, they've got the ball pools, they've got nightly entertainment, the big bar, you name it, bingo, the whole kit and caboodle. And you can go over and use that if that's what you want from your holiday. Because we recognise everybody's different, everybody wants a different holiday. There's a lovely play park on the site, there's a bigger one just around the corner. And the caravan itself has got loads of books and games and jigsaws and DVDs. And we get loads of feedback from parents who have gone. We had a lovely one from a lady who stayed last year. And she said, it was fantastic. I don't normally have time to do jigsaws with my kids and to read books with them. But we did every single day while we were on holiday, and it was wonderful. I know I look like a hard man, but I can tell you now there was a significant lump in my throat when I sat and read that, and it still brings a lump to the throat. Our other facility is Joanna's Cottage. It's on a park in Penzance in Cornwall. Marvellous place. We lucked upon this purely by chance. My wife and I were on holiday on this park in 2020 when it came on the market. We hadn't been looking because we didn't think we didn't even know they sold properties on that particular park. We had a nice chat with the lady who owned it, and she said if we wanted to fundraise for it, she'd hold it for us. Which was incredible because we didn't happen to have that much money in the bank at the time. And we managed to fundraise and scrape together the money. Our patron, Joanna Lumley, was very, very kind to us, which is why it's called Joanna's Cottage. And it's fantastic. They're both marvellous, don't get me wrong, but I do have a soft spot for Joanna's Cottage. They both have a double bedroom and a twin, very nicely appointed. We try and put everything in there that you could possibly want. The idea of the holidays is you get a week self-catering, free of charge. Electricity, heating, all paid for. You get free Wi-Fi at Joanna's Cottage. They haven't got Wi-Fi yet in North Wales. But that's all included. All access to the park facilities is included. You've just got to get there and enjoy your holiday. The rule with our holidays is very simple. You cannot take the person that you are caring for, because this is for respite. It's not just to be caring in a different location. Okay. But you can take other family members, friends. You don't have to go on your own. We do get quite a few people who do go on their own and thoroughly enjoy it. But the holiday is yours to have. 2022, we are currently full. And we have a waiting list. We do have cancellations. By the very nature of the people that we give holidays to, things get cancelled, things go wrong, appointments appear that they have to attend. So we do get a fair few cancellations through the year, and we offer those to those people who are on our cancellation list. Also, if you apply for a holiday this year and are unsuccessful in actually getting a holiday, you get a priority application for next year. So whilst we cannot necessarily guarantee you a holiday this year, you will go on the priority list for 2023. So, as I say, the feedback that we get from our holidays is absolutely phenomenal. If it weren't for the fact that I'd have to spend all my time traveling around the country looking after the facilities, we'd have a third one. And we are thinking about ways in which we can do that, because we appreciate that our location is not ideal. We like one up sort of Northumberland, Berwick sort of way. But until we can afford a TRA helicopter, that's not going to happen. But we've got what we've got, and we are looking at a few other options that may come available. So it's always worth keeping an eye on our website. And if anybody wants to go on to our mailing list, we do not send out large amounts of stuff because I have to sit and write it all. We do a Christmas newsletter and usually one around spring, summer if I've got something to say. And just drop me your email address and say, I'd like to go on the mailing list, and you will go on the mailing list. So one of the things that we like to think is, because we are small, we are flexible. I'm hope it comes across that I care about what we do. I help set it up, and I help set it up with other people, all of whom believed implicitly that there has to be something to support carers, because without it, caring can become too much. Even for somebody you love, let's face it, if somebody put a caring job in the local paper, you know, there's a job 24/7, 7 days a week, no holidays, no breaks. You even have to, you know, think about how you're going to go and do your weekly shopping and the like. Nobody would go for that, not for all the money in the world. And let's be honest here, carers don't get all the money in the world. The services we offer are limited because we simply don't have the money to do beyond what we can do. But they are flexible. We listen to what you need, and we do everything we possibly can to fit what we can offer into what you need. So whatever place you're coming from, so long as you live in England, Scotland or Wales, and I've started saying that because I did have a very nice lady. We got well into a seriously long conversation. We were just about to start looking at doing an application, and I said, "That's whereabouts in England are you?" And she said, "Toronto." I said, "The one in Canada?" "Yes, I found you on the internet." Ah, so I do always specify that we cover England, Scotland and Wales. I think that pretty much covers everything that I've got to say. I mean, happy to answer any questions. Just to give you a little idea of the timescales that happen, the application forms are available on our website. They are PDF forms, so in most cases you can complete them electronically and email them over, which is the quickest way of doing it. Sometimes, mainly on mobile phones, they have their moments, in which case you can either print them out or drop us a line and we will post you a paper copy. One way or another, we will get an application to you. When I receive an application, I check it to make sure I have all the information that I need. If there's anything missing in there, I contact you and ask you. It does not go in the bin because you haven't crossed the right T and dotted the right I. And if there's something in there that I think our trustees will have to say no to, I will contact you and see if there's another way that we can put it. There usually is. Our applications go to our trustees once a week on a Friday. We ask for up to 3 weeks for them to make a decision. We normally manage to get a response back quicker than that, but we like to give ourselves a little bit of time just in case something goes wrong. We learnt from COVID. We like to think we are pretty swift. We keep everything to a minimum. We don't ask you to fill in too much. And we are always here if you've got a question, if you've got the weirdest, most wonderful idea for a bit of respite that you would like, that's absolutely fine. I had a lady the other day, she rang me, she wanted to go and learn Italian. She wanted to get her brain working again. And B, it was an opportunity to meet other people. So we couldn't, she paid for herself to go to the classes, and we paid for somebody to look after her partner so that she could go. So we did 2 hours a week for, I think it was 12 weeks, so that she could go and learn Italian. I don't know, to be honest, I'm not sure if she actually learned any fluent Italian, but she certainly seemed to have a good time at it. So, you know, everybody's respite is different, and we recognize that. So I think you've probably heard enough of my rambling. So thank you for putting up with me. I hope it has been useful for you. And I will now try and get rid of this screen. So bad luck, you get to see me again. Hang on. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do that. Aha,
there we go.
There we are.
Oh, that's excellent. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. That's a fantastic overview of Respite UK. It's unbelievable that you achieve so much with such few, resources and people. It's really, really impressive.
Yeah. Well, I did actually have a full head of hair when I started with Respite 21 years ago, but
I actually had a question myself, actually. So if you're comfortable answering it, where did your passion begin and your interest in respite care sort of start?
Well, for me, I was actually, at the time I was working at a hospice, and I saw firsthand there the stresses that carers were under in those circumstances, and on a more personal note, looking after my mum, who needed some quite significant help towards the end of her life. One of my colleagues, his wife had a very, very long illness, and eventually died of cancer. And I mean, as he said, it was only the fact that there was a lot of us around him supporting him that kept him going. And he recognized that, other than his group of friends, there was nobody out there who was able to help him. So, as I say, we had all had that first-hand experience that gave us an understanding. And to be honest, I was chair up until 2018, and since I took over as chief executive in 2019, just talking to carers, I mean, the number of phone calls that end in tears because I just say, how can I help you?
Yeah.
It's not a staggering phrase, but it's the first friendly voice people have heard. And very often the first time somebody has actually said, right, I understand where you are. Let's see if we can't do something to help. That's what we do. It's not, we can't solve all of the issues for carers, but we can, one of the phrases we use all the time is, we can help you recharge your batteries.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that we learned very early on, we stopped using the term, even in our fundraising, burden.
Mm-hmm.
Because no carers that I know of in 21 years considers what they do a burden. Everybody is caring for somebody that they love. And most carers actually don't want a long time away because they feel guilty about leaving. They just need a little bit of time, a little bit of guilt-free time to themselves, something that everybody else, it goes back to what I said at the beginning, that little bit of normality, something everybody else takes for granted. You know, for most of us, going to the supermarket is not a military operation. But for carers, sometimes it can be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, John. Now, I know, without going into it too much as well, I know firsthand from my family as well, how the huge impact that being an unpaid carer can have. No, that's fantastic. Was there any questions from anyone on the Zoom meeting for John? No, that's okay.
Sorry, Luke, I was just going to ask, in terms of the applications, John, is there like a time limit on it? Like, is there, say if somebody applies once, can they apply again in the future, or can they only apply once?
We ask for an 18-month gap between applications.
Okay.
We do, again, that flexibility. If there is an exceptional circumstance, we will consider earlier application. So, you know, if somebody's had a holiday and then something goes really drastically wrong and they need some help, then, you know, we'll seriously consider that. We normally do 2 or 3 exceptionals a year,
Okay.
if necessary. So I would always say, you know, talk to me, ask me the question, explain to me the situation, and if we can help, we will. And as far as once we've offered a grant, if we offer you a grant for something, you don't necessarily have to use that grant all in one go. So, for example, you might come to me and say, I would like 4 nights over the next year, just so I can go and, you know, I know I've got my niece's graduation, my brother's birthday, or whatever. You can do that. We say officially that we ask that you use the grant within 6 months. Well, COVID put paid to that immediately anyway. I think we ended up at the end of 2020 with huge numbers of people who had been offered a grant but couldn't get anybody to come in. But that was fine, because we said to people, apply, get the grant, and then when things get back to normal, you know you've got something to look forward to. So we're just beginning to catch up on that. We still had a bit of a problem in 21. This year it's getting a little bit easier. I wouldn't say it's back to normal. So again, flexibility. Let us know. I've got one lady who's been going on a cruise. A family have paid for her to go on a cruise, and they just needed a little bit of help. Most of the family are pitching in to look after her son, but they needed a little bit of help. The original plan was it was in 2020. She's hoping now it's going to be 2023. And I just get a 6-monthly email saying, it hasn't happened yet. Can you please keep the money? And I keep going, like, yeah, no problem. It's in the bank. Don't worry. So, you know, although we asked for an 18-month gap, that's from the point we offered the grant. So if you come to me and say, can I have 4 nights over the next year? From the end of the 4th night, you've only got to wait 6 months before you can apply again.
That makes sense. Thank you, John. It's probably worth reminding people as well, actually, about the TSA support fund as well. So for anyone who may benefit, so that's a grant that we ourselves at the TSA run. It's open to anyone in the TSC community who is in receipt of benefits. You can apply once every 12 months, and it can be for essentially anything and everything. We've had applications for days out, short holidays, DIY, it's anything and everything, pretty much. It's worth keeping in mind, and you may well be able to combine it with something from Respite UK, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, that again, you know, if you wanted a holiday but needed a little bit of help with the caring cover,
yeah,
that sounds like the sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, and we are more than happy to work in partnership. And one of the things that, you know, we always try and do is to work with organisations, get to know organisations. That way we can understand better what you're going through, what your services are, and how we can complement those.
Absolutely. No, thank you. I think we'll be keeping in touch quite a lot, I think. Us and Respite UK, because we do get a lot of carers on the TSA support line as well, speaking to us about some of the things. But yeah, excellent. So unless there's any more questions or comments, I'll mute for a second just in case there are.
Okay, well,
no, okay. Well, in that case, so yeah, thank you again, John. It's been really interesting to find out more about Respite UK, and it's amazing what you've achieved. So yes, so it's really well done. You should be proud. And yeah, so for everyone on the call, as I say, we'll share this recording either this week or next week probably. And do please seek out Respite UK if anything that you've heard could be of use as well. So keep an eye out for future events as well, and yeah, have a good night. So thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye y'all. Bye bye.